Hello and welcome to Morning Call on Wednesday the 6th of March, I guess. Good morning. I had to look that up as always. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good day. I hope you are more awake than me. I spent late last night. I was baking a bread. It's my first sourdough. I had timing issues, so I had to do it in the middle of the night. Now I'm a bit tired, but I will still endeavor to soldier through and bring you the tech news of the day. First off, I would like to thank Sizbar, who subbed to the channel. He's the latest sub, or she. Thank you, much appreciated. Anyway, let's talk some news. I guess the biggest thing going on right now in the tech world, it's a bit of a slow news day today, but good old timing problems with your sourdough, says Reem. Yeah, that wasn't a euphemism, by the way. Yes, so bit of a slow news day, but the main thing that's going on today or this week is the RSA conference in San Francisco, put on by the RSA company, RSA Security, which is a IT security company named after the RSA cryptography algorithm, and there's some interesting news from this conference. It's mostly a big industry conference, but there's some interesting NSA news there because the NSA traditionally always there as well. But first off, what I found hilarious is that Adi Shamir is not at the conference. He usually is, but he didn't get a visa. And if you do not know who Adi Shamir is, Adi Shamir is the S in RSA. He's one of the three guys who invented that algorithm and subsequently created the company. And he couldn't attend. He's usually attending. He is a Turing Award co-winner, and member of the U.S., French, and Israeli Academy of Sciences and Britain's Royal Society. He lives in Israel, so he needs a visa to go to the U.S., and his visa application is stuck in limbo, so he had to Skype in, I guess. And he's basically saying, he was quoted as saying, "I've been left in total limbo." He told the conference via video link this morning. "Someone like me can't get a visa to get a keynote. Perhaps it's time to rethink where we organize our conferences. Maybe not in the US." And it has been pointed out that he's not the only one, only security researcher who's not getting, who wanted to fly to the US for conferences or other stuff and has not gotten a visa. There are other people there, apparently. His colleague Rivest, the R in RSA, said it's embarrassing to be a Yankee some days. And interesting side note here, there were also at this conference, at the panel, discussing Australia, who has been in a lot of has gotten a lot of criticism recently for passing some laws that basically outlaws certain kinds of cryptography, or is basically saying, we need backdoors in there. And so you might know Whitfield Diffie from Diffie-Hellman. So according to this is the register, I'm just going to quote this. Australia has given us the lovely quote that the laws of mathematics are all well and good, but the laws of Australia apply in Australia, crypto guru Whitfield Diffie said with a grin. If you extend this to physics, they could ban fission and ensure they are safe from nuclear weapons, or ban certain chemical reactions and solve their global warming problem. It's a step that isn't going to be productive. And this is, I find this interesting because this is a discussion that seems to be not only happening in Australia, it's also in Germany. Often, I've made the experience, often as a techie, you find yourself trying to explain cryptography to people, and then there is like some people who just don't know what's going on, and they want to outlaw certain things, or they want to make cryptography work only for the good guys, and you will have to try to explain to them why that is not the case. And often it's hard, or it goes wrong. It's a bit like that copyright thing I talked about recently, where like the copyright reform in the EU, where people are saying, yeah, but we want Google to abide by the law, so they have to check all the uploaded stuff. And you're like, there's like, I don't know what, 400 hours a minute being uploaded to YouTube, and that is like a number from almost 10 years ago or something. It's like, what? Do you know how physics works? Like, I don't think that's possible. But yeah, it's always a bit hard. Also at the RSA conference, ex-NSA hacker and now NSA advisor Rob Joyce, who's also a famous hacker in his own right, has unveiled Ghidra, which is an open source project by the NSA. It is NSA's decompiler, reverse engineering tool. It sounds very interesting. Very, very interesting. So he's saying we want to open source this. I mean, this is the thing with the NSA's second mission, aside from spying on everybody. They always say their mission is to make, cryptography and software safe, right? To defend the United States. And that's one of the reasons why they do stuff like this. I mean, if you think about, what's that thing in Linux that's an NSA project, not AppArmor, the other thing. Anyway, security. There's security tools from the NSA, but of course, it being from the NSA, people are kind of worried. And Joyce was saying there is no backdoor here. I said there's no backdoor in Ghidra. This is the last community you want to release something out. To with a backdoor installed, to people who hunt for this stuff to tear apart. So I guess his thing is like, the NSA really doesn't want to open source a tool, and then people will look at it and then they get really, really bad press. Good point. On the other hand, we trust them. So I'm interested in looking at this. I'm probably going to look at this, and I'm currently thinking, how would you install that? Like, I don't want to install that on my main computer to poke around at. So I'm currently thinking what kind of virtualized thing I'm spinning up to put that thing in. Maybe on a server somewhere, somebody else's computer, preferably. So we'll see. I can understand people being worried about this. And there's already somebody on Twitter saying that if you install this thing and you turn on debug mode, which isn't turned on by default, then it's listening on port 18001. And if you send something there, code there, it'll execute it. That does look a bit like a bug, and that would be a very obvious backdoor. I mean, this was found in like 2 minutes. But yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, this is looks like a very powerful tool. Definitely interesting. I mean, the NSA definitely knows what they're doing when it comes to decompiling code. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on this, I guess. Reem says, I think your parents' computers are fine for this. First of all, they're running Macs. Second of all, I really like my parents. I don't hate them. But maybe your parents' computers. If you could give me their IP address, maybe that would be a solution. Damn, I can't remember what's that NSA Linux security. I was kind of hoping Chat was gonna tell me. Security enhanced Linux. I just found that SE Linux, of course. That wasn't the Chat. I found that on my own. Anyway, I hate it when I think of something and the name doesn't pop into my head. It's one of my pet peeves. Speaking of the NSA, so a security advisor and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy was on a podcast and basically said that the NSA will probably kill its phone metadata spying thing. Where they spy on U.S. citizens, and because they can't legally get the full phone calls, they're basically spying on the metadata, and even there, people are saying it's probably unconstitutional. Snowden, of course, unveiled this almost 5 years ago, and McCarthy is saying that currently they haven't been using this for 6 months because there were problems with it. It sounds like there were problems with just spying on the wrong people, and so it sounds like they need to. There's some laws involved, like basically the law that was like when the Patriot Act ran out. Is like the I think the USA Freedom Act was then passed, and it's like they need to prolong some laws, and basically saying the NSA is thinking about not doing that, which of course first sounds good, but then like they're making this public. I mean, you'd think why are they doing that? And also, I mean, you would know that this is like that he said that on a podcast was like approved by the NSA, that is not an accident. So why is he doing that? And it just sounds like they have better ways, more reliable ways, or more targeted ways to get at the same data. So yeah, I guess that program is dead, but we shouldn't. I don't think we should be too happy. And that's basically all the news around RSA and stuff like that for today. There'll be more stuff coming out. I'm guessing I'll be on the lookout. I have some news that was sent to me in the Discord channel for Sixgun. Discord.sixgun.org if you want to join. It's a very nice community, and got some hints here. Let me just look. I think it was Ann Donegan who sent me this, so I want to give credit for that. So there's a call ID app called, what's it called? Dalil. It's like a Saudi thing. It's basically like a database, right? You upload your, I don't know why you would do this, but you upload your contact phone book, your contacts on your phone to this, and then it'll use its database, and when somebody calls you, it'll give you information on the caller. Well, it turns out they saved all the app data in a MongoDB database without password, publicly accessible MongoDB database, and easy to find apparently. So this is Catalin Simpanu writing for ZDNet. He's like, this was really easy to find. I mean, even we could find it. I like it when journalists are honest like this. Like, if I can find this, millions of. What's in here? Cell phone numbers, app registration data, full name, email, gender, device details, email, MAC address, SIM number, OS versions, telecom operator details, GPS coordinates, pretty much anything individual call details and number searches. Pretty much all of it, all the data for more than 5 million users. It's pretty amazing. Apparently, the researcher who found this told ZDNet that over 200,000 new unique phone numbers and 44 million app events have been registered in the database only in the last month. Yeah, people. I mean, this is a classic thing, right? MongoDB database without password. Don't do that. It's like AWS bucket, just like unsecured. I mean, come on, get your shit together, people. This is just not good. Yeah. He is also saying like he contacted this company, like the security researcher, a guy called Loka, contacted this company, and they weren't really surprised. They weren't really helpful. Also, ZDNet writes here, Loka says that at one point a threat actor also accessed the database, encrypted some of the data, and left a ransom note behind. But Dalil's IT team didn't even notice the breach and continued to save user data and app logs on top of the obviously compromised database. Some real experts writing this app. One can tell. As we say in Germany, einmal mit Profis arbeiten. Or let me do the, in case you're watching, let me do the facepalm here for a screen grab. Right. Just in case you wanted to screen grab that. Okay. In other news, ReactOS 4.11 is out. ReactOS is an open source Windows, guess you could say clone, but it's more like an alternative implementation that allows you to run Windows apps. Looks pretty much like, it looks like pre-Windows XP. It looks like NT. It's very old school. Like if you're hankering for that kind of thing, and you can run Windows apps, but like not very recent Windows apps. Yeah, there's some general improvements there. Kind of interesting. I thought I'd mention that in case you're interested in ReactOS. There are a lot of people interested in ReactOS. Looks like Windows 2000, says Crickle. Yeah, basically, doesn't it? No, like NT. Kind of, that brings back memories, man. God, although if like for nostalgic reasons, I would go straight to DOS. Like, who needed Windows, back in the day? God, I can remember I mean, I had a PC from like, at first I had only DOS. I only had a PC. I never had any other like computing systems. I got a PC IBM compatible in like '89, I think. And at first you only had DOS, and then you could like run Windows. You could start Windows from DOS. And then I remember the time when it switched, and you would just use Windows as your main operating system. But that was a time where still some games, especially the good ones, the graphic intensive ones, were still running in DOS, and you had to get out of, boot out of Windows into DOS and then run your games. And I can remember, like, I was like optimizing the system and basically breaking Windows. And I can distinctly remember my parents, like my dad coming into my room is like, "Oh, why are you booting directly into DOS?" And I'm like, can you do this? I wanna do something on Windows, basically. I'm like, no, Windows is broken. And he's like, what do you mean Windows is broken? I'm like, Windows has been broken for weeks. And he's like, don't you want to fix it? I'm like, no. I don't know what the game was, Schleichfahrt or something. The game is running perfectly. I'm not gonna change anything here. Fuck Windows. That was, oh man. Yeah, Crickle says, fiddling with AutoExec but and config this, exactly. Ah, man, those were the times, right? Got some sad news here. It's I didn't really, I saw this on Twitter. I didn't really want to report on this, but then you don't want to give people like this any more PR. But then Golem wrote Peter Steinlechner on Golem wrote a pretty nice column on this. So there was a game. Or there is a game on Steam called Rape Day. Bear with me here. Where it's like a cheap, shitty ass game with like Unity store assets, basically. Where you're like, it's like the zombie apocalypse, and you have to rape. You're a man. You have to rape women to finish the. I don't know. I don't even know why you would. Fuck. Anyway. So that was in Steam for months, and people were complaining. Now you can't get to it in Germany, which I think is a good thing. But Peter here, writing for Golem, he basically wrote a comment on this column and saying like, Valve, this is shit, get your act together. And I completely agree with him. I mean, what the fuck's Valve doing here? I mean, what the hell is going on? I mean, I get your whole, it's a platform, we don't want to editorial, there's legal reasons for that, especially in the US, but like that excuse only goes this far. I mean, yes, also so many games, you don't want to check them all, you don't want to be Apple, I get that, but like you can do like a search once a month maybe for like rape, and I mean, this game is, they weren't even trying to hide it, they weren't even saying, like, they weren't even deploying any excuses like this is art or this is like satire or whatever. This is just like blatant filth. Like, this is stuff that wouldn't get through Pornhub's like curation algorithm. Like, why the hell is that on Steam? And like, this is one of these things. I mean, this is like the EU shooting itself in the foot during Brexit. I mean, come on, Valve, you're under pressure right now. You're being, everybody's gaining on you. You got the Epic Games Store. Fucking Artifact was a failure. I mean, come on, get your shit together. Get some proper user support, and at least if somebody flags something like this, and I can guarantee somebody flagged this months ago, just look at the shit. Like, hire some fucking people to look at this shit. And then, you can be... I respect the libertarian argument here, I respect platforms like this, but that only goes so far. Let me quote Captain Picard, a line has to be drawn here, and I think this kind of shit is where anybody should draw the line. Anyway, please sub to PewDiePie, says hello. Yes, sub to
please
the line must be drawn here. Let me do the Picard one. Yes, sub to PewDiePie. I think that's good. Better than whatever he's still fighting that Indian thing. Anyway. In other news, in other game news here, winding up the shows, you can tell, getting into the game news. Apex Legends had 50 million players trying it last month, and that looks good. That is big. I mean, I've seen a lot of like the guys on Twitch I watch playing PUBG are playing this. It doesn't look like something I want to play. It's not my thing. I like things more hardcore. I'm looking at Tarkov right now because fucking PUBG isn't running. Like, I can't stream PUBG because for some reason it, like, ever since last year they built in some kind of like at the end of last year or like in October or something, they built in some kind of anti-cheat measure that causes my CPU to just go to 100%, which means, I mean, I can encode video, I can stream, that's not a problem. I'm doing that with the GPU, but it just means sound goes to shit. Like, I could probably stream it alone and it would just like heat up my system, but if I do want voice comms at the same time, I guess because I do that over USB interface, it just turns everything to shit. Anyway, so Apex Legends looking good for EA there. I find it hilarious that, so this is basically, there was Titanfall 2, which people liked but weren't really successful, and then the guys went like, okay, we need success here. Let's build a battle royale. Everybody's doing battle royales. Build a battle royale in that universe. Keep it secret, then release it. And people really flocked to that. The hilarious thing is that Titanfall 1 and 2, one of the reasons they were no success is basically EA shot themselves in the foot. Like, with the release dates of the games, they were like horrible, and they basically torpedoed those games with other games they released at the same time, or like, in the same time frame. And what I find hilarious is that EA has done this now to Anthem, BioWare's Anthem, BioWare also being EA property, getting fucked right now, not really getting any traction, and getting pretty bad press as well. But like, really not getting any traction, and it's basically Apex Legends, which was released a bit earlier, surprise release. Obviously, very different game, free to play and stuff like that. But like, it looks like that this has now completely torpedoed Anthem, which is basically now they're using a Titanfall property to do that to one of their other games. Reem says, I think that's because Anthem is just shit. I'm not quite sure. I mean, the problem is these games are hard to compare. The problem with this kind of thing, I think this is a very interesting thing in gaming journalism that people haven't really written about, is that these two games on the if you just look at them on the on a high level, right? They are pretty similar. Like if you just play them, right? They are comparable. But on the other hand, they're not, because Apex Legends is a free to play game, whereas Anthem is a full price game. But I mean, they're doing, when you play them, they're doing pretty much the same thing, just under different under kind of under a different outset, right? But the player doesn't care. Like if you gotten like a review key, right, for Anthem, and you hadn't paid for it and you played both, then you would kind of compare them on their own merit, right? And I'm not quite sure that, I mean, it would be completely devoid of the reality, because player have to pay for Anthem, but still, like, it would be just on the merit of the game, right? And I'm not so sure Apex Legends would win there, because the criticism that Anthem basically gets is like for like content not being there, and for like a full price game is you can play it this long, and then there's this much. Okay, the other criticism is that it's a BioWare game and it's not really BioWare's strength, and it was my argument. I think they should stick to other stuff. But like, I think if Anthem was a free to play game, it would be a completely different story. But obviously, it's a very different game. It's been developed very differently. It's probably been more expensive to make, and yeah, it's hard. It's like, I find that really hard. Okay, I'm just saying what you all say. There was a Jim Sterling video discussing that all the AAA releases in the middle of February, and all of them are huge time sinks. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but it's different if they're from different studios, right? So you're competing against another studio, and then it's really not your problem. It's like, okay, do they choose mine or theirs, and then which time sync do they choose? But if you're if you're coordinating this across several studios, they're all your property, and then you're torpedoing your own games, that's like shit. What do you think happens to BioWare now? Says Flash. I don't know. I obviously hope they would go back to that strength, do the games that they do well. But I don't think that will happen. For some reason, like, the executives have gotten it in their brain that these games are really expensive, and that they need to make more money, I guess. I don't know. It's just like they want these games to be online because people engage with it more. And I guess they don't want, like, the one, sell you a full price game once and then maybe sell you a DLC or two. They want you to be in the game, and then, I mean, I don't really understand it, because it's not like it's a subscription game, right? Do they think they get more DLC sales? Do they get more DLC sales? Maybe EA was just confused which was the real release date for Anthem, like everybody else. Maybe it could be a case that they're like Microsoft now, that like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. It's a bit hilarious. Andromeda wasn't this bad, and this has been their main focus. Oh, Flash, I disagree. I think Andromeda was hilariously bad. I think that was I mean, I'm not a Mass Effect fan, but like that just looked like a clusterfuck. I mean, that had huge quality control issues. And I'm a Dragon Age fan, and you know, at the end of the day, Inquisition already is not good because it's basically going that way. You know, basically making a game that is it's an online game, a place like World of Warcraft, and that's not the strength of Dragon Age. Anyway, let's stop this discussion. It could be going on for months. I guess we'll be I'll be following this. Apex Legends seems to be the big thing. We'll have more news about that. It's currently the only thing I think that can challenge Fortnite, and we'll see if that'll work. I have one more story before we go. Found this quite interesting. So, people have used the Have I Been Pawned database to find out some stuff and like about passwords. And one interesting thing is there's a password, JI32K7AU4A83, which exists in that database hundreds of times. You think that looks like a random string. And then Gizmodo did some digging, or some researcher did some digging, and Gizmodo reported on it. And it turns out that is because if you are in Taiwan and have there's a certain system. So this password was in 104 breaches at Have I Been Pawned. And if you use a certain writing system, it's called Sujin. It's like basically a keyboard that has Latin characters on there, and then also Chinese characters, and you're basically typing shortcuts of for like these characters. So if you want like one character, you point like you type like JY3, and then another one's 2K7, and another one's AU4, and basically, if you use this kind of system, and it's supported in Unicode, so if you use that and you have a keyboard like that, this JI32K7AU4A83 translates to my password, or MY and then password, pass and word, like four characters. I just found this hilarious. It's just an interesting story how a password that looks completely random, if you do some digging into it, you figure out, well, it's not random at all. It's basically my password in Taiwanese if you use a certain keyboard. Thought that was funny. Anyway, yeah, that's it for today. I'm looking at the clock here. I managed to do quite a long show, even though there wasn't that many news. I guess it's like Boyle's Law. I fill the rest of the time up with rants about something, BioWare or the EU. Anyway, I hope you have a good day today, and you have a productive day, and I'll have lots to do, so I won't be getting more sleep. So tomorrow I'll probably still be tired. Anyway, yeah, have a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow for some tech news. Until then, I don't know what's the sign off today. Can we? I have nothing. Until then, I have nothing. Goodbye.